Hello there everybody, welcome back to another Lost Ark adjacent video. I love saying that term, I don't know why, I just think it's funny, because it's not a Lost Ark video, but it is Lost Ark adjacent, you know what I'm saying? Hee hee ha ha. Sorry, I'm in a good mood. Just got out of the shower, played with my cat before that. That is not a euphemism either, I played with my kitty cat, tired him out. Ate some food. I'm vibing, man. It's Topical Tuesday, where we take a look at the Lost Ark Games subreddit over the last week, and we just kind of hang out, man. You get to listen to old man yell at clouds, because old man doesn't even really know what's going on anymore. Before I get into this episode, though, I do want to say, I see a couple comments here and there every now and then asking, like, hey, Chris, are you ever going to come back to Lost Ark? And I think the easiest... Like, I've answered all of these, well, not all of them, I don't think, but I've answered the ones that I've seen, especially recently, and the answer to this is basically, as long as I'm making even these Tuesday and Friday videos, I have an interest in the game, right? And I think as long as that interest in the game stays, there'll always be the chance that I come back. I just don't necessarily think it's like a super high chance, because the things that made me leave the game in the first place, it seems to be like core design choices. And I don't ever want to say with 100% certainty that it's a blanket no, never, because I think life in general is very uncertain in a lot of ways, and especially over the last year or so, last year, 2 years, I've kind of adopted this mindset of like, you just kind of have to go with whatever kind of makes sense at the time, and never rule anything out in general. But for a video game, yeah, it's a little bit easier. But no, I don't think the answer to that question is a resounding no, I'll never come back. And like I said, the videos that I make here are me still having interest in the game, which I think is a very good thing. I just think the biggest thing for me is Lost Ark needs something else to do other than raids, right? I really do think that, and I've said this since the very beginning. When I was making like my earliest videos and like just talking about like my own opinions, gasp, God forbid, a boy give his opinions. But yeah. Anyways, sorry about that. I got a couple comments recently, and I just wanted to like throw this in here for the couple people who care and like ask, and you know, just want to know. And I mean, at this point, if you're watching this, you're one of the few people who probably just legacy watch me because I'm like comfort food, you know? And that's completely okay. So it doesn't really matter what I talk about as long as I'm just talking, you know? And I find that very sweet, so thank you guys. Anyways, I'll start opening some threads. Let's open up these. Ooh, a funny My Lost Ark Raid Boss tier list. Let's open these and start here. Kind reminder to DPS/parse players. If you get in a lobby with pugs, don't expect support players to get 100, 100, 100, 100 uptime. Brother, if you're expecting a non-pug to get 100, 100, 100, 100, you're losing it. You're losing the plot, mate, fucking in it. But I understand it's a fucking hyperbole. Exaggeration, am I right? Uptime for your ego parse ambitions. Go get a fucking support friend on Discord to do it with who equally gives a fuck about your parse. If support wants to clear the raid and keep you alive by healing shields, shut the fuck up and accept it. Some people just want to clear the raid and not give a fuck about your DPS parse. Dude, who hurt this guy? But I do understand the whole, like, parsing shit is fucking obnoxious. And it was always this way in WoW, too, where you'd have, like, certain people, and I was one of these certain people, do not get it twisted, who basically were just parse demons. I would never throw, like, a raid or, like, a mechanic to parse, but I would definitely get away with padding my DPS when I could, you know? Call me the rank 1 demon hunter on Mistress Sazine in fucking, what was that raid called? Tomb of Sargeras, was it? No. Was it Tomb? I don't know, it was one of the fucking Legion raids. But yeah, little 100 percentile on Demon Hunter, yeah, you could say I kind of fuck around, you know what I'm saying? No, that is to say, parsing shit is fucking obnoxious. Though in Lost Ark, I think parsing is a little bit different, since Lost Ark is a lot more buff uptime related and like being able to cheese out specific, like, I mean, I don't know about the new mechanics now, but I know there in the past for parses there are certain mechanics that you can abuse to, how you say, extrapolate your DPS very high. You need some coordination to do that. Echidna snakes come to mind. Just echidna in general comes to mind. But in any case, after reading these comments here, I understand why the game is in the state that it's in. Well, that's the first comment that I read, so let's take a look. I can entirely understand your point. I'll add another consideration. Problem arrives when mana regen is directly tied to support uptime. Lack of mana and certain classes become unplayable. It's pretty unfortunate that by design for some DPS, their enjoyment of playing the class is entirely contingent on support performance. I mean, I do think tying mana regen to, like, fucking support skills is just stupid. I'm honestly, and this might be a really unpopular opinion, but I don't think mana should ever be a resource to worry about in Lost Ark. The classes who don't use mana and use their own, like, personal resource, that makes sense, but a mana bar shouldn't be the limiting factor, especially since Nightmare doesn't really function how it used to. But I mean, again, that might just be a massively unpopular opinion. And even when, like, the whole Nightmare meta on certain classes were to, like, abuse the cooldown cycle period, it's just, I don't know, man. I got better things to do than fucking manage a resource bar that only exists because Smilegate was like, mana bars exist in RPGs, so we gotta have a mana bar? I don't know. Energy bars make sense because it's, like, designed specifically for it. Things like combo points or, like, specific, like, cards, like the Arcana. Arcana is a great example, I think, for this because, what I mean by this is I think, like, Arcana could very easily have just not had a mana bar, and just use their card system, you know what I mean? Like, I think the card system was enough of a resource management thing. Like, why did they also need, like, a mana? Like, the mana bar doesn't matter. It's just there. And I mean, I think Arcana is a bad example because Arcana was a class that used Nightmare. Nightmare doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? But, like, for the classes that don't, I guess Berserker maybe is a good example. Because Berserker does have mana issues. At least it used to. Mayhem, specifically. I don't know about BT. And again, this is, like, me talking from, like, a year and a half, 2 years ago. And this is even with Nightmare. Berserker had mana issues. And if your support was not pressing the mana button, you just couldn't press your abilities. And it's just like, why? What part of this is, like, it doesn't add anything? I think that's my point. I don't know, let me know your guys' opinion. I always like reading people's opinions. Because again, that's all this shit is. It's just everybody has their own opinion. Oh, it's some guy saying a hyperbole again. I said that first. Anyways. Hello, AGS Hammer, please. What do you mean, Hammer? That's just a bunch of all of my new friends, fishing on the docks. Because, oh, it's fucking Meme Lord again. God, I love Meme Lord. He just drops heaters. I still love the short video that I made, like, 3 years ago of me just fucking following around the fucking train of rabbit havers. Because all of the new accounts had rabbits. Oh, man. Haven't seen my cousin cut video in a long time. That's where he must have been. Yeah, all my friends, I think I can see a couple of them in here, you know what I'm saying? Bro. But yeah, bots, this is why I always say, I wonder how many, like, quote-unquote players in the CCU are actually, like, just robots. It's gotta be a lot of them still, which sucks. It sucks for the game. It always has sucked. And I'm part of the crew way back in the day that didn't think as many bots existed as they did, but then when they did the whole banning and we lost like 100,000 plus fucking CCU, I was like, God damn. This shit was half bots back then. But yeah. An actual new player sighted. Who wants to farm some eels, Adventure Dome? Actually sucks seeing this, man, not in a negative way, just sad. It's been so long since we all completed our Fate and Adventure Tomes and no one to help this little fella. Lack of new players who'd also be there to help this guy since they both need to do the content. It also reminds me of just starting out the game as a really fun MMO aspect of the game. Yeah, dude, honestly, the Lost Ark launch was literally probably the most fun I've ever had playing any game, literally ever. And I have fucking spent my whole, like, 30 years on this goddamn planet playing games. It was just a magical experience. But you get that kind of mystified experience from, like, any new MMO launch, just generally speaking. But Lost Ark itself was very fun. There's so much potential for things to do other than raiding, and it just sucks that they did not do anything with it in, like, the entire time the game has existed. There's so much potential in this game. It makes me sad. AGS and Smilegate are kind of allergic to new players given how much time it takes them to add stuff that benefit them. Things like Story Express should have been one of their top priorities, yet we're getting it 2 months after Korea. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different reasons, I think. He's in for a treat when it's actually time to buy the collectibles and he realizes that shit combined is worth a relic book. I once accidentally saw a new player, a returning player, chatting in Algasha asking for help defeating Hanumatan. I fucking love the monkey. I mean, I don't. I hate the monkey, but I did the monkey so goddamn much. I love the monkey. You know, the love-hate. Hadn't noticed and helped, you probably would have been stuck waiting in the lobby forever. So sad, sad. My love and hate towards Lost Ark. It really frustrates me. Quit this game back in October 2025 after about 3,000 hours. Laid it low on, cemented my decision as well. However, I've yet to find another MMO that has a world building and combat style of Lost Ark. Just way too good, way too flashy and satisfying. The aesthetic of the game is just too good. I love the Gooner outfits. Hey man, you do you. The edgy ones and the beautiful environment and the music the game has, but every time I even remotely think about going back and giving it another chance, I'm reminded of the shitty progression systems awaiting me. And a new one now at that, Ark Grid. The fact that while the game is advertised as an MMO, it's basically solely raid-focused game with very minimal social interactions, or the fact that half the game is just spent from one menu to another menu, which is with very uninspired vertical progression. Wish it was a proper competitor for Lost Ark. It's a damn shame no one has been able to come up even remotely close to the good things that Lost Ark has to offer. Darn shame, so much potential, yet the player count is deserved. Yeah. I think this generally shares the same sentiment that I have. Maybe less so focused on the systems, though I would agree, generally speaking, the systems are also not great, like the vertical progression systems, especially the overlapping of them, which is something that I've always said. They don't ever design for the long term, they design for the now, which makes these systems progressively stack up and feel worse and worse, especially if you get behind on them. But yeah, it's just a solely raid game. You log in, you do raids, when the raids are done, you log out. It's fine if that's the kind of game you want. I think I speak for a lot of people. I mean, I know I do, considering how other MMOs that contain things to do other than raids are much more, I think, widely accessible to the larger audience in general. Because by only offering raids, you alienate yourself to, like, a specific niche group. Because believe it or not, I think very few people, well, I wouldn't say very few, but a lot less than you might initially think, want to engage in, like, quote-unquote endgame content. And I'm aware that a lot, what people consider endgame content definitely can shift. But I think endgame content is, like, even entering, like, the latest normal raid. I think that alone could be very intimidating for a lot of people. A lot of people just want to log on, maybe, I don't know, do a little bit of, like, genuinely, I don't know, like a fucking... I'm trying to think of a good comparison. Like transmog runs or something. Like little transmog runs. Make their character pretty, make their garrison nice. I mean, you could make the comparison that the garrison, old garrison or Legion Stronghold class order hall, excuse me, is like comparable to Stronghold, but I digress. My point is there's just not enough to do outside of only raiding. There's no casual content, there's no quests, there's no transmogs, there's no cosmetics to go for outside of raiding. And obviously the cosmetics in Lost Ark are all purchasable with crystals, so, I mean, I get it, but I don't know. Completely agree. My Lost Ark raid boss tier list. Let's glance over this. Theamine Gate 4 is the GOAT. I've never even stepped in that bitch. I definitely would not rank Gate 3 S+, but I don't like Theamine. I guess I know I'm unpopular here. I think my reasoning I don't like Theamine is because Theamine feels more like a memorization game than it does actually playing a game. And that's, I think, why I like Clown so much, because while Clown has, obviously, memory aspects to it, it's a lot more reaction-based than it was anything else. You have to make split-second decisions based upon what Clown did. And I know you can make the same argument that, like, well, it's just the same for, like, Theamine, it's just you have to remember where to go. But I like the idea that if you don't do it properly, you don't just instantly die. Like, for example, you fuck up a pattern in Clown, you don't instantly die, you just get Mayhem Gauge, and you control your entire team if you do it poorly enough. I think that's the kind of mechanics I like in games, I've come to realize. And I think that's also why in MapleStory I really enjoy Limbo. Limbo is a great boss that does this very well. It feels similar to Clown. If you do the mechanics correctly, you get rewarded. If you do the mechanics incorrectly, you get punished, but you don't instantly lose. I just don't think instant deaths or instant loses or resets are fun, for me personally. This is a fun tier list, though. It is kind of crazy putting, like, any part of Kyangal above F, because Kyangal fucking blows ass. Vault and Goat. No T2 content, Abyssal Dungeon was best rage gaming. That's funny. But yeah, I guess that'll do it for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like the video if you liked it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Thank you to my YouTube members, It's Biscuits, Andrew Diz, Remix My Life. I love all you guys very, very much. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye!